That is really bright. All right, welcome, welcome. Good morning, everyone. The early birds, the bright-eyeds, the bushy-tails. I see it. All 5 of us that are in here. We've got our breakfast. Some of us got our espresso in. I'm on my 3rd one. That's definitely going to change soon, and it's going to be more than that. Wanted to give a special thanks to WNet for sponsoring this morning's welcome breakfast for everyone and for all of your contributions to yesterday's panels, speakers, and conversations. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started this morning with our opening speaker and remarks. If and when you are going out of these back doors, if a speaker is speaking, just try to be respectful of the speaker and not have it slam. They were a little loud yesterday. This door over to the right of the AV station will also be partially open for you to slip in and out if you need to take phone calls or address emails as well. As I mentioned earlier, I'm on my 3rd or 4th coffee. Last night's happy hour was wonderful, but yeah, it's an early morning after all of those activities. Also wanted to give a special thanks to US Bank for sponsoring a lot of the panels and sponsoring yesterday's activities. And thank you to Peter Gordon for not making me feel so nervous because that was a tough act to follow. Also, I'm sure many of you can see, there's a little visual aid up here. This is Roscoe, the RealTime Payments puppy. That is not a joke. This is my dog. My dog's name is Roscoe. If you know me for 5 minutes or 5 years, you know about my dog. And we have copies of him and all of his friends at the Photon booth. So if you want to go check that out at the table, you'll see like a little gaggle of German Shepherds hanging around talking about real-time payments. I really wish I could have brought my real one, though. He's really, really cute. So just to kind of get us into the mindset of what we're going to be talking about today, were there any core themes that people heard yesterday or something that was interesting to you, maybe a word or a phrase that came out of yesterday's panels and speaker discussions?
Quantum resistance.
Quantum resistance, all right. Any other words or phrases? That also leads me to another housekeeping point. If you're a speaker and you receive a question, just for everyone else in the room, could you please repeat the question or repeat the response back from the individual so we can all have the same audio experience as well? For me, yesterday, the thing that I thought was the most interesting was the discussion around smart payments, and my favorite speaker was actually Barry from Deluxe when he was talking about innovation and payments with a purpose. And I really feel like that's why most of us are here. Whether you're a fintech or a bank or an ISO or a VAR, all of us are in the business of engaging in this idea of payments with a purpose, with flexibility, optimization, and data. And this morning, we're continuing that conversation with the payments track. And we're going to be talking this morning and throughout today about everything payments, mobile payments, digital bill pay, touchless and freight payments, decentralized finance, buy now, pay later, and much, much more. MPC is the premier conference to talk about what's new and innovative in the payments industry, and today's speakers and panels are definitely going to highlight those themes. And so if you are a payments nerd like I am, today is definitely for you. So without any additional housekeeping items or frames for the day, I am going to introduce our first speaker, Shane Logston. Please come to the stage.
Thanks everybody for being here today. As Angela mentioned, my name is Shane Logston. I am a Director of Product Management at Heartland Payment Systems. With a previous exposure of developer experience of how we get our developer customers and our merchants connected to our systems, and more recently with a focus on our online payments business as a whole. And around that, we have the ability to really take in how we are accepting payments today, not only from your standard point of sales and website entry channels, but also the mobile experience as well. So today I'm here to talk about mobile payments in ways to optimize that experience for both merchants and cardholders. Before we dig in, it's probably a good idea to discuss why this is important. People are increasingly using their mobile devices for both work and leisure. We shop online, even more so in the past couple of years. We use, as businesses, tablet-based points of sale, allowing alternative ways of taking payment, whether that's through a line busting device or a mobile sled that you're taking payments on the go to increase, again, that experience for the customers. Mobile payments are everywhere, needless to say. So let's dig in to see how we can optimize that further. Past days, we were very focused on having mobile-friendly solutions. We might throw in a couple technologies here and there that improve that, but in today's world, that's not really an option. We can't be mobile-friendly, we have to be mobile-first. And there's reasons for that, and mostly around the form factor, right? We're using smaller screen sizes. We no longer have these gigantic monitors that we can depend on. We have mobile screens that are, as small as 4 inches at times. So that form factor can increase the complexity for, user interfaces. So we have to have mobile devices and those form factors at the forefront of the design process, allowing us to work through those complexities and potential issues before we even start the build-outs. Part of making a mobile-first solution is the fact of making it easy for a user to complete a payment. We have the ability to have our interfaces look nice, but if they look nice, it doesn't matter, or even if they look nice, it can have a negative usability situation where I'm trying to enter my card details, and for whatever reason, the way that the solution in the payment form has been built out just doesn't allow me to enter my card data as easy it could be. We have our credit card number, the security code, the expiration date. All of those are numeric pieces of data. So we can use the solutions that we have at hand to make sure that the cardholder knows, hey, we're only accepting numbers here. Our mobile phones and tablets have a way of showing different forms of the keyboard, allowing for various data entry points. So for those numeric entries, why not make it simple? Show the telephone input instead of a regular QWERTY keyboard with your alphanumeric options, and just focus on the numbers that we know that we can accept. And beyond just making it easy, we can streamline the process even further by allowing options like card on file to really enable our repeat customers an easier and faster checkout process as they come back to our payment solution. Really, this streamlined process for repeat customers helps drive those conversion rates, allowing us to realize that revenue quicker by making it easier for our customers, really reducing the number of taps that it takes on those mobile devices. Again, working around the constraints of the form factor itself. Card on file has an even greater option of reducing this friction through tools like an auto account updater, allowing the card number, expiration date, those general card data details to be updated directly from the issuing banks, further reducing any friction that you might have, especially around recurring and subscription payments, where increased friction can reduce the revenue for a merchant, essentially giving that customer a notion of, hey, this payment failed for whatever reason. Maybe I should rethink my need for this at the end of the day. They want typically their favorite good or service. They want their subscription box of the month. But given a second chance, they might reconsider that. So part of that optimization process is reducing options of decisioning factors that might reduce a merchant's revenue. In addition to making it easy and straightforward, the UI itself is important. Having additional inputs that aren't needed, like the card type, to say, hey, this is a Visa, when we can know ahead of time, just based on the card number itself, that, hey, this is a Visa card. There's typically not a really driving reason to have that as a separate input, for instance. We really want to instill confidence in mobile shoppers with the payment form itself. Our cardholders are more sensitive to where and how they enter these details. So giving them the confidence and assurance that, hey, you're entering your details with a trusted partner here in your shopping experience is more important as we go on. And especially, one sec, sir. Thank you. Especially as we look to other ways of accepting payments, giving them the customers and the cardholders alternative ways of entering that data, or even using other methods of payment, will increase our conversion rates as well. Using QR codes, for instance, can give an additional contactless way of entering that card data using the merchant or the customer's own device, allowing them to worry less about how they're interacting with unknown hardware. Using digital wallets and ACH and e-check solutions, for instance, gives better payments experience for different verticals. Business to business is a good example of why ACH could be a powerful tool in a payments repertoire, allowing maybe some higher ticket payments to be processed on a payment method that will really help impact the merchant's bottom line by reducing your overall fees as a business. And then moving into the future, we have solutions like TapOnPhone that will help optimize the card-present payments on mobile as well. If you're not familiar, TapOnPhone is a new technology approach to accepting payments directly with a phone. So as you see here in the picture, we're tapping a contactless card directly on that phone, and then using the phone's NFC capabilities to read that contactless EMV solution. Really, this helps remove some of those bulky sleds. You don't have to worry about any kind of spotty Bluetooth connections. We're really allowing the merchant to have even just a backup solution to make sure that if they need to accept a payment, they can. Allowing for a simple off-site solution, maybe an additional line busting tool to, again, make sure that they can complete that payment and realize an optimized solution for their customers and themselves as they go about their day-to-day business. And from there, I'll pause for some questions. I know we had one earlier.
Yeah, you said something that struck us as so important, and it's talking about the form, and you were talking about that some point in the beginning, people put like little brands and say this was PCI certified or whatever, and that's not so much it. It's more of a feeling, right? That you feel trusted for that form. Can you share some ideas on that?
Yeah, definitely. So the question was around alternate ways of instilling that confidence we were talking about earlier in the payment experience. And as you said, this could be around the old way of having a secure seal on the site said proudly secured by X partner. But that could be one piece of it in today's world, even though it's less used. More around the form factor itself, making sure that the customer can actually enter that successfully no matter where they're paying in today's world with our tablets, our phones, even options like text to pay where you're interacting with a business purely over SMS. Other ways around that are using and displaying the ways that you're accepting payments. So if you are a merchant that, for whatever reason, doesn't accept Amex for an example, showing that, hey, I only accept Visa, MasterCard, Discover as a way of showing, hey, this is what I'm going to accept and have that known up front. Or, for instance, if you want to enable some of those digital wallets like Apple Pay, Google Pay, maybe even PayPal, allowing that to be known through the cart, for instance, on a retail solution, basically as early as possible. Give them the out to complete that payment in the way that they prefer as quickly as possible. Yes, ma'am.
Do you see the real-time payment is happening for the mobile payments? It will be part of it, or are you guys considering that?
Yeah, good question. So was around the real-time side of payments and whether it's impactful to the mobile experience. And definitely, that's 100%. It is impactful. Being able to provide a mobile user that notion of that real-time response of whether that payment was accepted or declined is increasingly important because while the mobile devices themselves can be used in asynchronous ways of, hey, I want to kickstart a conversation or I want to start an order and complete it on my phone or another device, that process itself can be asynchronous. But when it comes to the payment of completing an order and entering your card data, making that payment from your bank into the merchant's bank, typically the user will want to know immediately if that payment was accepted or declined. And for the merchant, it reduces the complexity of having to go back. So say if a payment was declined and we're in an asynchronous model where we don't file that payment and submit that payment until later, there's a risk that payment will be declined and we don't have a backup method for the cardholder. So as a merchant, having the ability to have that customer with a decline provide an alternate payment method really helps complete that sale and convert that order. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I had the same question. I like your point about trust. I want to kind of go on a little bit deeper on that. When I saw the two avoid sketchy looking forms, my thought was I agreed, but everything on the right, a scammer could probably put up there anyway, on the example of what it should look like. Is there any advanced information? You mentioned, I think it's a good point to try to bring the payment process as early into the journey as possible so you can introduce it. Is there any knowledge of the potential customer before the card is entered that might be able to give them additional confidence that you're legit? Would there be any way to do anything else to create that confidence?
Yeah, again, let's repeat the question of are there additional ways as a business to instill further confidence before the payment process? And I think there are potential avenues, and it comes down to some of the best practices that we have as digital solutions today. For instance, on websites, having an SSL certificate to secure your web presence and make it known that, hey, I am who I say I am, allows at least part of that from a customer experience. For instance, your bank that you use for your accounts might have an extended validation cert, allowing you to see in that address bar the name associated with that certificate. You see that more often in those financial institutions, but you might see some businesses use that for retail solutions, for instance. From a cardholder perspective, you have that and potentially marketing outreach if you're a larger brand. But for smaller brands, you might not have that option. So you have your grassroots approaches of increasing brand awareness that will really help make you a known brand. Again, something that could be repeated by a fraudster, but at the end of the day, they're only going to put forth so much effort to kind of capture that confidence. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, everyone. If there are any other questions after the fact, I'll be out in the exhibit hall later today, so feel free to swing by and be glad to chat more. Thank you.